Hello guys and girls, and welcome to episode 19 of the VR Inside podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR and MR talk show that is live streamed every Saturday on Nathies YouTube channel. You can tune into the show live at 4 PM in Europe, 3 PM in the UK and 9 AM in central US. If you missed the podcast, you can catch up with the whole show when I upload it on my own YouTube channel, Virtual Reality Oasis, every Sunday. Or, alternatively, check out the audio-only version on your daily commute. And you can check that out on Google Play Music, iTunes, and SoundCloud. So, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback during the show, chuck them in the chat, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. So, let me introduce you to this band of merry VR men. First up is our poorly little Dutchman. Send him virtual hugs in the chat because he's not very well this week. It is Nathie.
I'm okay. I'm fine. You know, I need to keep on uploading. You know, I need to keep at it because I mean it's CES, so you know all the news is coming out right now. So I need to stay alive as long as possible. It's important.
That's right. That's right. You can't stop, dude. You can't stop.
No. But I'm okay. I'm doing fine, guys.
So send him love in the chat. It'll boost his
Thank
HP.
Of course.
So next up, this guy likes to kiss little pillows of my face, and that is Rowdy. How are you doing, man?
That was a weird present. That was a very, very weird present. I'm looking around because the cleaning lady
I've got one here. So for those in the chat who don't know, I sent Rowdy and Nathie this for Christmas, which is a pillow of my face, because who wouldn't want a pillow of my face for Christmas?
Wow.
Actually, the funny thing is, like the cleaning lady, she came on Friday, and I forgot to put it away, and it was like a new cleaning lady, and she left, and I came home and I saw the pillow laying on the table. I was like, oh no!
What did she do with my pillow face? That's what I'm concerned about.
So for the audio listeners, what Mike basically did was he put his face on a round pillow, which perfectly matched the shape of his face, though. So I have to give you credit for that. But it does look a bit creepy, especially because it was packed together with some chocolate. Make good use of that.
Did he really do that?
They're best enjoyed together. That's what you need to do.
Hang on. Seriously, you did not help matters, Rowdy. You circulating images of your girlfriend and you making out with the pillow did not help matters at all.
Yeah. That pillow was showing a good time that night, I'm sure.
Anyway, wait. One more thing about your pillow. Did you spray your aftershave or something on there?
Oh my god!
No. That was a nice little touch, I thought. You know, so not only do you get to see my face, but you get to smell me as well, right? That is an additional bonus. That is well done for noticing.
Did it also smell like pepper nuts, by the way?
It's a combination of pepper nuts and izumiyaki.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, we digress. If you want a mic pillow, by the way, let us know in the chat, and maybe I'll hook you up. You never know.
Yeah, we want merch.
So moving on, this guy likes to go fast and furious in VR. It is Zimtok5. How are you doing, bud?
I'm okay. I've been racing.
Still getting over the pillow. You're still getting.
I am still getting over the pillow, but no, you're right. I have been racing far too much. I was up until 5 AM last night, still doing virtual laps. It's just too good. Anyway, that's me this week. We had a big race with 16 people playing, and it was just so good. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Awesome. And last but no means least, myself, host of the show, Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis. In today's episode, we have got a full episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about the Vive Pro. We're going to be talking about fitness in VR. We're going to be talking about VRChat is addressing some harmful behaviour found in their social space. And we're going to be talking about top VR peripherals available to get the most out of your virtual reality experience. So first up, like every week nowadays, we try to find out what everyone has been up to there during the week. So let's start off with Nathie and see what you've been up to this week, dude. You've had a pretty busy week by the sounds of things. Travelled to Stockholm, right?
Yeah, so me and also Rowdy, we got invited to come to Stockholm, Sweden to check out Apex Construct. It's an action-adventure game with like archery mechanics in there. And yeah, that's about everything like I played. I also went to Neat Corporation, their like development studio, to check out budget cuts. That's all I can say. And I also went to Landfall Games, who made tabs. So I just traveled around a bit, met some developers, gave them feedback on what they can improve, and that's about it. So I haven't really played that much. I've been just speaking to a lot of people. But it was fun. I think that Apex Construct can be a great game if they address some issues they have at this very moment. But the launch is gonna happen soon. It's not out yet. So they still got like 6 weeks to finish it up. It's coming to PlayStation VR, mixed reality headsets, the Vive, and that's about it, right? So, yeah, that's all I have to really say.
Yeah,
but Budget Cuts is still coming.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually, because we mentioned it on the show recently that we hadn't heard from them in a long time, and then you went and saw them and got the inside scoop. But it's a bit secretive.
I can tell you guys that they were very surprised, first of all, that I wanted to pay them a visit, because they don't really get that much attention from VR content creators. But it's a nice little office with a small team, and what they could tell me was like, hey, we are still working on the game, and they also wanted me to tell this to everyone, like, don't think the game is not gonna come out. They just they are taking the time to finish it properly, because it's one of those most anticipated games. This was one of the games you saw at the start when the Vive came out in the lineup. You know, you had the gallery, job simulator, but also, you know, budget cuts. Now that was only a demo, so you couldn't really play the full game yet. But they are still alive, and they are working really, really hard to make it happen. Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting place, I think, that they find themselves in, because as you said, Nathie, they were a really highly anticipated game. But I'd almost go so far as to say they got to be careful, because they're going into nearly forgotten about territory. For me, like,
no, they like technically they are forgotten. Like, of course, like the core community still knows what budget cuts is all about, but in the meanwhile, we had so many like new people coming in
exactly.
that have no idea what budget cuts is. Of course, some people are hunting on Steam for free demos to play, so they might have played it. But you are right, and they also told me that the expectations are so high that they have no clue if they are like able to deliver to those expectations.
And actually, I heard some of our buddies say this. I don't remember exactly who said it. Let me know if you can credit them with it. But someone said it was probably the first game that we saw, and probably still standing as the game that uses teleportation to its advantage, not its disadvantage. So, and there's a free demo out. If it's still available, check it out. It's very, very cool, very enticing, to the point where, you know, you play a demo and you're like, I want that now. I don't want to wait. I just want to play it.
I know where you are going here. Yeah. I do feel like the gameplay mechanics they have been using back then were like something unique, something totally different. But I do feel like it has been a bit like outdated, you know. But maybe they upgraded it a bit. But still, it's funny that if you look at budget cuts and all the other teleportation titles out there, you haven't seen that many that have used the same kind of like trick. So I think they are going to be fine. But you are right, they have been waiting for way too long. And that's a shame.
I do have to say that was like the first game that I felt like really immersed in. Like, you know, picking up those weapons and like shooting with them and like throwing those knives, like, oh, that was so cool. And that was, I think, also for a couple of friends of mine, was like the first thing that I wanted to show. Like, you know, look how cool virtual reality is. That's the one that really like convinced me that I was onto something really nice here.
Yeah, and like you say, for those of you that have never heard of budget cuts before, it is available as a free demo on Steam VR to check out, so go check it out, and we'll hopefully hear more about budget cuts in the very near future. So moving on to Zim, then, what have you been up to this week, dude? I'm sure you've been busy streaming lots of cool stuff onto Twitch.
As always, I think the coolest thing that I got to see, which I can't remember if we covered it here or not, maybe about a month ago, is a game called Cubism, which is an indie puzzle game. If you can imagine Tetris in 3 dimensions, where all the pieces are scattered about, and you have to figure out how the pieces fit together to complete the puzzle. So completed kind of 3 levels of that, and that was really good fun. The other ones that really stood out to me this week, I got a chance to try out Titanic VR, which, having played the original Titanic experience, which was like a demo at the time, from the same team, was a totally different thing. It was, here's the deck of the Titanic as it existed for the passengers, walk around it and understand it. That was really cool, just for an educational experience. This is rather, the Titanic is at the bottom of the ocean, and you're in a rover, and you go look at it, and it's a totally different, chilling experience. You're like, you're in there. It almost gets to a spiritual level, if I was to say that. It does. It's a good app for what it does, and I really like. I can't remember her name, but this lady who's from Belfast, she was doing very early on VR reviews, knows her stuff, talks very intelligently, and does narration for parts of the game. And so it was a nice, welcome kind of return to that person's voice, because I haven't seen her, and I think she's part of the dev team now, but I haven't seen her kind of on YouTube and that, like, doing very much. So that was nice. But racing has taken up a big part of the week. And I think the other one that I would mention is, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is Box VR. So how do you get a sweat on in VR? Yeah.
Sure, nice, man, nice. And what about you, Rowdy? Obviously, you went to Stockholm with Nathie and some of the other VR YouTubers from the crew.
Yeah, indeed. Like, it was a lot of fun, like, meeting up with these kind of people. We got to check out Apex Construct, and then for the rest of the time, we were kind of like free to do whatever we want. And it felt like a little school trip, with all of us. Like, we all went out to Stockholm, and then we got to meet up. We got to hang out in a bar. We went out for like a nice dinner. It was fun, because it's strange that, you develop like relationship with these kind of people, it's like, we're friends all, we know each other, we talk on pretty much a daily basis, but we never got to meet each other, like, or most of them not in real life. So it's strange that someone you haven't met before, you still know so well. And, when you meet them, it's just like, oh, hey man, yeah, this and that. Oh yeah, we talked yesterday. Yeah, we did. It's so strange. I've never experienced something like that before, and with any other medium that you know each other so well, even though you never met each other.
And I mean, it's also so special that this is the first time a developer saw the potential in all of us to just invite us over to come to one place to play the game and connect and socialize and have fun.
It got tweeted so much. It was all over my feed during that time.
It's true. But I'm happy it happens now, because it shows that we VR content creators are getting taken more serious now, because we do have a very large reach together. And it also feels like a family, where everyone plays the game. We're like all sharing feedback with each other. So I hope more developers will do it in the near future. So
definitely,
Fast Travel Games took the credits here for us, like, for being the first one doing it. So very smart.
And the great thing about it as well is that I've not really seen it in other scenes, is that normally you have this competitive nature between different people that create different content, but actually, like, for the VR scene, we're all very friendly with each other. We all know each other, we all talk to each other. It's a really nice group. Like you say, it's almost like a family group, because we're all so passionate about VR and just want it to succeed, right? So we're all kind of working towards that goal, which is really, really cool. I love it. So apart from Apex Construct, obviously, did you get to play much else this week?
Nope. I've been back since what was it, like Tuesday, I think, and then I went to work on like Wednesday. I slept. I overslept on Thursday, and then on Friday I was back to my regular schedule. So no,
right.
Not really.
Because you've been away as well. Obviously, you've been in the US, and then you came back, went straight to Stockholm, and then straight back into work as well. So it's been a rough time for you. Yeah.
And you, Mike?
So myself, I've been jumping into quite a lot this week, actually. I actually jumped into H's Garage, which is a Ready Player One experience from Sansa.
You're going to have to spell that, by the way, because when you were explaining this to me, how you pronounce it?
Yeah. All right, so H, for those of you that don't know about the book or the upcoming movie, it's obviously about virtual reality in the virtual worlds. The main character, which is called Wade Watts, his alias is Parzival in the virtual world, but his best friend in the book is called H, and it's spelled Aech, as in, and you pronounce it as H. But basically, H has a garage full of like vehicles and iconic 80s memorabilia, so you can go in there and explore the garage. So it's got like Ed 209 from RoboCop, the Ferrari from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the Viper from Battlestar Galactica, and of course the Iron Giant, which is going to be a standout machine in the movie.
Is this like a fan-made thing, or is this actually to promote the movie? What is this? Like, is this something officially...
So this is official, and it was worked on by the studio that made the movie, but also with Sansar as well, which this virtual reality application where you can explore virtual worlds. It's kind of like a social application, a bit like VRChat, but it's a bit more polished, but doesn't have quite the scene that VRChat has right now. But it was an interesting experience.
It's multiplayer, Mike.
Sorry. Multiplayer, that's right, yeah. Oh. So you can go in with each other and explore these environments together and talk to each other in these environments as well. But the actual environment itself was very polished and got me pretty excited about the movie coming up in March. Aside from that, I also played The Climb, which is an old but cool game. But one of the things I would say about The Climb is, and it's really only a problem for us content creators, is that it's just awful to record with. To record that content is so difficult. You either have a really stretched view or it just looks very narrow and kind of you have to frame it in a nice way. But it's a great game, but awkward to record. Aside from that, I also played The Lost Bear, which is good. It's I'd never really heard of it before, but it's an old PSVR title. Came out late last year. Just come out on Oculus Rift. It's a unique mix of
they reached out to me.
It was a PlayStation VR thing,
for
right?
PlayStation VR. Yeah, I didn't know. As well.
Yeah, and it's a nice mix of like being in a VR environment. So you sit in a chair in a VR environment and watch a big 2D screen of a 2D platformer. It's pretty short. It's only like an hour long, but it's a really nice game, and I've done a review and I've rated it as good. So I'd recommend checking that one out if you like a short but sweet experience. And then the final one I tried was Finnegan's Factory, which was another one that just released on the Oculus Store. I thought it was pretty bad actually. I thought it was a pretty bad wave shooter. Like we're surrounded by wave shooters, and this is a bad one in my opinion.
I mean, but like I played it when it just came out as like a demo, but I agree on you, like based on the launch now on Oculus Home, it can't keep up with the rest.
No, and I saw that it had released in early access about 2 years ago.
It's such a late. Why?
So it seems strange that it's only just dropped on the Oculus Store. Finnegan's Factory.
It's based on a comic or like a series on TV, as far as I know. But no, you're right. But it's funny though. This is like again the problem we hear when you wait too long with something to announce or launch, then it sometimes doesn't meet the requirements anymore of people on the platform. That's a shame.
It's true. So that is what we have been up to this week. So let's dive in straight into our first topic, which is the Vive Pro, of course, the biggest announcement this week, which came from CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So just before we jump into the details, I just want to go back to last week's episode because we all had some predictions and we betted some burgers on the predictions. So
I can't remember.
Go. Well, I actually watched the video back and have verbatim your comments. So this is what I said. I said it was going to be a replacement standalone headset that you could just replace. You could buy the headset itself and just clip it into your old Vive kit, use your existing trackers, your wands, and that kind of stuff, and upgrade, essentially. Which, from what I understand, is true. You can do that. But also you can buy it as a package as well. So you can buy an upgrade package or you can buy the whole complete package if you don't have a Vive already. I also predicted that it was going to be a high-resolution headset with a deluxe audio strap, Lighthouse 2.0, and knuckles. Obviously, I was wrong about the knuckles because they're, like you rightly said last week, it's made by Valve, not by HTC, so that will probably be a standalone release. Nathie said that it was either going to be a new headset or some kind of lens adapter. Zim said that it was going to be a 1.5 edition, deluxe audio strap together with a new set of lenses. And Rowdy said that he didn't care, and he didn't agree, and he just wants story games and knuckles.
So he basically won.
Consumer. The thing that struck me as like more surprising was the release date of it. Like, when is it going to be available? Because that's what we discussed about for a very long time. Because I said,
Q1, right?
I remember me saying they're going to piss a lot of people off if they're gonna release a headset, by June, because a lot of people just bought it and they're not interested in buying something new already. If they release it by the end of the year, that is, that's something different. Yeah. But a lot depends on on that, I think.
But that's not firm yet. We don't actually know the exact release or price yet. And that's when, at the end of this little segment, I'm going to go for our predictions 2.0, and you can double down on those burgers that you
but
already.
I mean, what Rowdy says here, it could have been unfair for people, but in the end, they announced the Vive Pro for VR enthusiasts and not for the casual new consumers. So in the end, it feels like it doesn't really matter if someone has the old one or the new one.
No, because let's be honest about it. Even if you get the old one, you've got some great experiences. It's going to be a long time before that's going to be outdated. Let's put it that way. You're still going to experience some great VR experiences. So don't be scared to jump in and get a Vive now. But obviously, if you've got the deep pockets and you want the best of the best, then hold out for the Vive Pro maybe, or whatever else comes out this year that might be interesting. But if you're showing the trailer right now, it kind of looks like a Pimp My Ride montage. They're taking old components off and slapping new ones on, and it's got a nice sexy paint job. So let's start off with the way it looks like. What do you guys think of this new aesthetic for the Vive Pro?
It's a chunky monkey. I mean, the weirdest part about it is the angling. But I love their sales campaign where they say, look at it, it's balanced. This is something we've considered. Because out of all the headsets, the Vive has the worst balance right now. Mm-hmm. And I think the deluxe audio strap, we'll talk about that a little bit later, helps that balance. Integrating it all into one package is really good. I'm sorry for your loss, Mike. But anyway, I think it does. Balance is a great selling point. Yeah,
but I also think it's lighter now. When the first Vive came out, it was pretty heavy. Then they brought out a revised one. They never said it was going to be lighter, as far as I know, but it was lighter. So I think this one is lighter once again.
I've heard already multiple reports. I've heard multiple reports of people who have reviewed it, but of course nobody has had a chance to weigh it yet because they're not allowed to. Yeah. But a lot of people are going to say that they feel a lot lighter than the original Vive.
But balance can throw that off. Balance can really throw that off. I remember when I put the CV1 on and compared it against the DK2, and you're like, oh, this is definitely a lighter headset, and you check the gram, calculate. It was very close. I can't remember. I think it was actually heavier. But the thing is, if you get the balance right, you don't notice the weight.
Yeah. So that's why I think that's so important. That is definitely true. But I mean, it would make sense because they already released. Didn't they if you buy a Vive now, it's already a little bit lighter than the original.
Yeah, it's notably. I just tried it. I just tried it 2 months ago, and I got to the point where I was like, will I sell my Vive and get the new one? Because I feel like I'm giving them a bit of guff, which they're not deserving right now. Because the new headset is notably comparable to the Rift in terms of its feel. Nathie, do you have the current one?
This is like the casual Vive. But what you can see, with the new one, it's interesting that you see these headphones, they're kind of small and stuff like that. But
bring it a little bit closer to the camera, Nathie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So with the headphones, these ones are running down, right? So here it starts, then it goes down. But with the new ones, it goes up a little bit this way, and then it goes down. So it's actually adding some weight on the sides, a bit more outside of the headset. So I think that's the main thing that they really changed. Plus, the back is a lot bigger. This is a part that misses, but it's more like a PlayStation VR band,
which is a good choice, by the way. I'll show the video again so people can check it out.
And just for the audio listeners, right? So Nathie was just showing off the deluxe audio strap on the existing Vive, and he's comparing to the ear bridge that we can see in the new build in the Vive Pro, which actually I think is a really cool move because it differentiates them visually and it gives you that balance. And people have said that it does feel a lot better when they've worn it. So.
It's funny because if you actually listen to the song that they play during this trailer, I noticed this when I was doing some research for today's show, the lyrics of the song that they play, this is how it goes. There's only one king and there's only one crown. Yeah. There ain't enough food for the both of us on this throne, so it's about to go down. It's whoa. Is that shots fired from HTC? It's
yes, it is. Of course. But I love it. I love that ballsy approach. Who drops news in January? Okay, loads of people are going to be pissed off who got a Vive for Christmas and are like, for fuck's sake, I want the upgrade now. But I think it's great. It's a great ballsy move. They're doing a big punch to the other competition. They needed this. They really needed just to drop this news, so I'm glad they did.
And I'm pretty excited about this because, it is an upgraded display. So the new specs are 1440 by 1600 per eye. Same field of view, obviously 110 degrees. But compared to the old resolution, it was 1080 by 1200 per eye. So you're getting a nice jump in resolution, which is going to sort of eliminate some of that screen door effect. It's going to look a lot more vibrant, a lot crisper. So you're going to get a nice bump up in quality in terms of the eye performance. And then you've also got this like upgraded audio with the built-in audio strap. It's going to be more comfortable and it's more balanced in terms of the way it sort of displaces the weight of the headset because of this sort of new ratchet system, which is really nice. But also it's got these dual pass-through cameras, which is interesting as well. So we haven't seen how they're going to implement those, but like maybe it's going to be full pass-through so you can see what you're doing at your desk or in your environment.
That's the funny part. I've been speaking about this in my video. If you want to see the video, it's like everything you need to know about the Vive Pro. This is some like black right there. But I checked out the website because they got a website with all the info you need to like know. And it's funny that they announced the front cameras as something totally new, but it was already in the casual Vive.
I think it's going to be different though, Nathie. I'll tell you what I think they're going to do. This is my little guess. Okay, if they're smart and that they got the software engineers on it, you do a room map, so you don't have to map your boundaries anymore with the controllers, because you can do that with stereo lenses. That would be awesome. Throw it on and boom, room's mapped.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I mean, I was just referring to like Mike because I see a lot of people say like, whoa, but now you can see where you are going and you can actually eat noodles and grab a can. But you could do that before, but it seems like a lot of people like stopped using it. It kind of disappeared. Like, I'm not sure about you guys, but I never really use that feature that much anymore.
I can see one feature though for stereo lenses, I think, is typing in the air.
Yeah.
Because you can track your fingers better and you can get actually a depth vision of that. I think you...
Typing in the air, who wants to do that? No, come on, man.
I know,
really?
But that might be a feature that might be implemented later, I can see...
When I got haptic gloves and I get feedback, fine. Before that, I do not want to be pushing the air. That is not a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. Like they said these cameras are for developer reasons, So it's kind of like what I see here on the website. They say never second guess a step when blazing a new trail with Chaperone. The technology recreates a virtual outline of your environment, enabling the user to see and feel the current surroundings with the need of removing the HMD. But there is more to it. But that's up to the developers. I'm not sure if it's like, I thought like, mixed reality again, like the inside-out tracking thing, but that's
I don't think it'll be
I think it's cool that they provide the tools, we just
Yeah.
put it in there and maybe someone comes up with a really cool application for it. And I think that's a great strategy because a lot of things come out like that.
Yeah, so also like this Vive Pro, it actually got a Best Gaming Product Award by Engadget, which is a pretty nice award. But as well as obviously the HTC Vive Pro being announced, they also announced the add-on for the original Vive and the Vive Pro, which is a wireless adapter. So it's Intel's WiGig technology, which touts low latency, and you're going to be using this a bit like the TP Cast, right? So you've got like a wireless headset, and I know Zim is very skeptical about wireless.
I'm not skeptical. I am straight against it. I think it's something that is for lab rats. Yeah, I think that if you take, as a qualified electronic engineer, if you take high bandwidth signals and stick them next to your brain for duration of time, you're asking for cancer. I think it's a dumb idea. I think people should avoid it, and they can feck off, to be honest.
That's a bold statement right there. You heard it here first from Zim.
Okay, but I mean, if they import it like in Europe, for example, they are going to check it. It's not gonna come into the country if what you say here.
That's great,
It's
Nathan.
not gonna happen.
Yeah, you go ahead and believe science, but science has been proven wrong so many fucking times. I have no interest in that kind of technology. Once they get it in the headset and you're not having to go through this in order to get to the device, fine. And what they've done is they've noticed this. You can see it in the product design. They're trying to get the antenna where the power nodes happen. It's just like a cardioid microphone. It's got that kind of power signal, and they're trying to direct it away from your head. Why? Because they have the same bloody thing in their heads. They know this. That's the problem.
So are you saying, Zim, that these sort of technologies, the TP Cast, this kind of like wireless adapter, it's just... But these things must have gone through FCC approval, right? So they must have been tested.
Sure. Yeah, in a sample period of how long?
You still don't trust it?
No.
Right?
The problem is, I mean, because this is like a little bit like my kind of field of research. And the problem with this kind of research is that it's very hard to prove that someone got cancer because of these kind of things, and that the amounts of periods that you need to track this are going way beyond like, you know, just a single, like, you know, like you can't do this, for example, for 10 years and then say, okay, research. No, this is research that's going on for like 1,500 years. And with novel technologies like this, yeah, there's always going to be a risk. That being said, though, this risk, has been here for like many, many, many years and decades. And it's the same with like those power lines you have outside. There are a lot of people believe, and there is significant proof for that as well, that it could cause cancer. But at the same time, there's enough proof as well that also says that it doesn't provide any cancer. The same with, by the way, with a lot of these kind of things, like for example, when Chernobyl exploded, a lot of like these kind of things is very hard to prove with research. That's just how it is.
Yeah, so, well, Zim does have a tinfoil hat in the background there, so maybe, you know, he could wear it. No, you know, the government are spying on him and everything else. I would love to know what the chat know. I would love to know the chat's thoughts on this as well. Like, if they could just pipe in and let me know, I would love to know their opinion on this. But go ahead, Nathie. What was you gonna say?
I think that, like, the concerns you have are, like, I mean, you should have those, and there should be some questions asked about it, you know. But at this moment, I think when I saw the Intel thing happening, you know, getting announced at CES, I was like, okay, so people are gonna bring back their TP cast now, and they're gonna swap it around for this one. Because I've seen people, but maybe that's just frustration in the end. People said like, my TP cast doesn't work properly, but in the end they haven't tried the Intel one yet. It's not like a nice picture and they got nice words under it, but we still don't know how it's gonna perform. And I did hear there was some delay already, like at some
And on the flip side, right, on the technology side, I think it works very well. I've seen people doing it. They've done it with mixed reality setups. I've seen it working. I have no concerns with it as a usable product. I really don't. I think it's awesome. Once they solve that solution of wireless, it'll be great. Yeah. But to be honest, right now, and as a guy who spent 10 years using a wired mouse as an FPS gamer, as opposed to wireless, that's just because of the performance of it. Like, I mean, wireless internet connections, even now. Like, how many years have we had Wi-Fi connections to the laptop? How many times do you have to deal with dropouts or kind of conflict with the weather or conflict with the 2.4 gigahertz device? So you just have to go for what you yourself are comfortable with, and that's it. I'm not saying that everyone should necessarily steer clear of this, but just have a think about it before you decide to jump in.
And at the same time, I mean, we've been using cell phones as well, which are also like still have not been able to disprove the effects of a possible cancer. And the same with Wi-Fi, and the same with Bluetooth, and all of those kind of technologies that use some kind of form of radiation or like some kind of form of a telephonic signal.
But this is the thing, guys, like to our viewers, our listeners, we don't want you to like just turn this podcast off, run off to like a little island somewhere and become a hermit and just close off technology. We're not saying that. We're just saying these are our speculations. These are, you know, what we're worried about, and they're good concerns to have. And I like the fact that we've got opposing opinions on things as well.
Also, so you got the shape is funny, yes. But you will still need a battery pack on the side. So the battery is not on your head, it's on the side.
That's a good thing.
And it is. But I don't know, that's the thing. Like we're talking about something we don't know when it's going to get announced.
So who's going to get
it? When it's going to launch and what the price is going to be, you know?
You're going to get one? Rowdy?
I think so. I mean, if it's
Sorry.
then...
Two things. Vive Pro and wireless transmitter. Which of those two are you picking up?
Both?
If I can, I'll pick everything up, you know. Like the thing is, I just need to have the budget for it as well for doing so. But no, I mean, I think once those things are FCC approved, then I mean, as a scientist myself, I should put all my faith in it. That's just how it goes.
That's a good point.
So I think the biggest disappointment for me about the whole announcement and these things that they brought out was that they didn't mention any revision on the controllers. Because for me, like the Vive controllers are the one thing that really holds me back from jumping on the Vive camp and owning a headset. Because I've got so used to the touch controllers and they're such great controllers that it's the one thing that puts me off. But with the Knuckles coming, obviously that's another thing. You know, they're made by Valve, like you said rightly in the last episode. So it's a shame that they didn't revise those.
I'm going to make a controversial ask here, Mike, in support of your point of view.
Yeah.
Dear HTC, and Steam support mixing of the Vive headset and the Rift controllers. They're a better controller, and absolutely you would open up people to that market.
And this is the thing I've thought about in the past, because when you think about the Pimax coming out, they said that you can have their headset, you can use the Vive ones, you can use the Vive trackers. We're kind of coming towards that sort of modular future where you can choose the best headset, the best controllers from this system, and the best lighthouses or sensors from this system. And now if OpenVR allows all that to be integrated and mixed around, well, that's very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
You can choose the optimal setup.
But as long as they keep on playing the King song, it's not gonna happen. So I mean, it's not completely true that yes, there will be no new controllers, but they seem to be working on Vive 2.0 controllers, not the knuckle ones. Just maybe the grips are on a better place, or maybe the touchpad is a little rounder or bigger, a more like a shaped thing. And then I think this is the last thing we will hear of this line of Vives. They could still pull this off with a new resolution and a new strap and everything. This is also more for people that work within the VR industry and that got a development studio, or are VR super fans, veterans, whatever. That's the thing. We don't know when it's gonna launch and what the price is going to be, but I feel like this is just their last thing before they go for a whole new.
We got Paradise Decay saying that he saw a picture of some blue controllers that look smaller than the default ones. So maybe they are making some different kind of controllers, but I don't think it's going to be a different design than.
What do we know about the base stations? We haven't gotten pricing on the base stations, but we've seen a picture of them. They're smaller, they're rounded. Yeah. They look kind of cute, to be honest.
And they seem to support a bigger field. I've heard as well.
They do, right? You could put 4 of them together for 10 meters by 10 meters coverage, which allows for what I'll call warehouse VR, which is great for those those camps like escape room games and what we've been talking about in the past couple of podcasts, where you can actually put a little backpack computer on and away you go.
So let's have some new predictions for release and price. Let's go for it. Double down on those burgers. So go on, Rowdy. Do you have any predictions for this?
I want to see some more games. I want to see new games.
You just don't care again.
He's playing on save. It's not fair.
I don't know what. How much is the original Vive now? Is it still $599?
$599.
But that includes base stations and includes controllers.
So we're only talking about the.
Do we want to talk about the upgrade, Mike? Price that.
Well, so I think there's two. So I'll go with mine first. So I think there's going to be 2 options. You can upgrade just with the headset alone, and that's going to be available sort of April, May time. And I think that's going to be $399. And that's just for the headset to upgrade your current Vive setup. And that's going to only be available early doors. For the whole complete package, you're going to have to wait later on in the year, I think. And that's going to be a more expensive bundle at $699. So $399 in May for the headset alone. The whole package later on in the year for $699. That's my guess.
So you think that the controllers and the base stations are going to be how much dollars then?
$699.
So wait, sorry, but I thought that they announced that the 2.0 base station and again revised controllers aren't going to launch with the package.
No.
Saying
they will only sell the headset for now.
Yeah, early on.
They said it's going to be an upgrade, right? So you can basically go to their store and you can say, I want a Vive, but I want the new headset with that bundle.
No. So you can't do that at the moment, I don't think.
No.
You can basically only upgrade to the new headset, or you can buy the whole complete bundle later on in the year.
It does make sense because it's for the industry and not for just a casual consumer.
You're gonna lock out a new consumer from buying the upgraded version.
Yeah, because
of the
headset? It's that's the thing. It's not made for. It sounds kind of unfair, but it is. But that's if you are new to VR, you are not going to know the difference, because you're just starting with VR.
Disagree. But I totally disagree. The one question that people ask is, "What's the best VR headset? How do I buy it?" And if the answer is going to be, "Get yourself a Vive Pro," you have to buy the full Vive, sell off your core basic Vive, and upgrade. That's not going to happen. Who's going to sign off on that? No way.
But that's the thing. Most people for example, Rowdy, they care about the games. They want to see new games and they don't really care about the headset that much.
To contrary on Mike. Mike, I think you're very good for going for the low price bracket. You're the only other person than me who I've heard go that low on the price of the new headset. I'm guessing $398 because they've done this before. So $398 US to go $1 less than the Rift package. And I think we won't see a Rift package price reduction in the next 2 months. So I think they're going to say, oh, and you can get the Vive Pro upgrade for less than the cost of a Rift. I think they just want to be able to say that. That's why I'm saying $398.
Then I'll go for $398.99. That's what I'm doing. That's what. Right. 398.99.
But you also think, Zim, that you'll be able to buy the new headset with the current hardware that we've already got in terms of ones and trackers. Okay.
Yes. So I think what about existing base stations, existing controllers with the upgrade headset is kind of like when you're checking out of the store, give me those bits. I think the way they'll ship it to you will be probably separately boxed. You'll get like the separate whatever upgrade is with the other headset removed.
Yeah.
That's
I find it a bit strange though that you said like, $399 for the headset and then for an extra $300 basically, you get what then? The controllers? And the base
look at the price of the controllers
2.0 base station.
$300.
I mean, when I replaced my two controllers, it was like £270 for two controllers.
They're expensive. They
are expensive, and that's why I'm saying that if you look at the base price of $600, you can chop off $250 for the base stations and the controllers in that bundle. If you look at how they itemize it on their shop, for instance. And they love this kind of modularization, which is why I think Mike's slightly off track guess that it was going to be like they were going to be selling all these different bits separately. Wasn't too far off the mark in terms of what Vive is trying to do strategically, because they do that in aftermarket sales. You can buy all the bits independently.
Yeah. So go on, Nathie. What's your prediction, dude?
I think that, as I said before, this VR headset, this Vive Pro, is for developers and people that are looking to upgrade their headset, also for development reasons, I guess, and maybe research. So the thing is, of course, if you got the money, I would also just upgrade. That's what everyone should do. But again, this is more for the experienced base out there that wants to buy the Vive Pro. I think that they will just sell it as just the headset. That's all. If you still want to, you can buy lighthouses extra or controllers. You can all buy that as separate packages, or you just buy a package of the old Vive with everything in there. But it's just advertised to a different audience.
I think I'll go with Nathie on that one. I think as well, like, since the impression I'm getting now again is that they're trying to target like the enthusiasts, like the ones that really want everything best and everything like top end, and who will throw money at them for whatever reason that they can find. While I think that the campaign that Vive has been doing like lately with their older headset has been more targeted like the general consumer market. Oh, we'll bundle it together with Fallout. We'll bundle it together with this game, just to get like more like mass adoption. But I think with this new Vive, they're trying to like that core audience that they already had from the beginning. There's like those enthusiasts. They're trying to feed them with something new, and I think that's indeed like there's going to be like in a little bit like a higher price bracket without all of the upgrades. Indeed.
Yeah, I do feel like they want to, like you see with, for example, Nvidia too, with GPUs, where you buy a 1080, but you can also buy those like how do you call those cards?
Overclocked.
Factory overclocked.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So it's more if you have a factory and you have some robots and you want to run those on some nice GPUs, then you got that stuff. You could technically also maybe game around with it. I don't know, but you get my point where they create a consumer part and a industry part. So
I see what you mean. Like
yeah.
Yeah, like the Nvidia Titan V, for example. Like it's card mainly for industry, but consumers also buy it as well to get the top end. Yeah,
so you will see like a huge price difference between the old Vive and like this Vive Pro, because they know like companies see this as an investment, and not as just a random buy.
Actually, it's a good point.
But I have to say though,
business.
like out of
there's
out
a
of all
business
the
edition, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And do we know the price of the business edition? It's expensive. It's more than $1,000, I think.
You mean the?
But you need a license. It's because of licensing, not because of any difference in the hardware.
Right. So there was always a business edition anyway of the old Vive 2, and the only difference is that, of course, I mean, you maybe get like a small discount in buying it as like a huge like batch, but also the fact that the servers or like the support from HTC was faster and better, you know. And,
but also, I think those business
they were
deals
for
were made
arcades.
arcades exactly for the licenses to use it for.
It's
you know,
$1,200 in the US.
Yeah, that's right.
£849 in the UK.
But personally
and
speaking,
$1,080 in Europe.
Yeah, but personally speaking, like out of all like the kind of next step in generation in terms of headsets, it's the one that I'm probably most interested in right now. Like, it's more interesting, I think, than the Pimax. It's more interesting than any of the mixed reality headsets that have been announced with this same resolution display. So I'm interested to check it out.
It's stepped progression, isn't it? And I really like that. Like, I'm very much a tortoise in the hare kind of guy. More often than not, I back the tortoise, and I think the Pimax is the hare, and it's trying to like go breakneck speed, and I think it's going to cause itself trouble. I think we've already seen that. And I think this is the hare, and I'm absolutely happy. Give me 10% resolution better, I'll fucking buy into it. It's been 2 years.
I don't want to digress too much, but there was like a Pimax at CES as well, and some early reports, there was a lot of concern about those people that tried it out because the revisions that they've made have actually been a little bit of a step backwards. But they said a big response to the criticism, and that was that they're trying out new tooling and they haven't refined it perfectly yet. They would bumped up the brightness of the LED display, so then it sort of interfered with tracking issues.
And
so yeah, it's been delayed.
Ugly. It is ugly. Do you see that foam? It looks like worse than DK2 foam.
This sounds weird, guys. I mean, seriously. So people write about the Pimax at CES on the show floor. Then it sounds like they are panicking, and they suddenly bring out some fast statements of what they are like doing and what they are going to improve.
Yeah. But we do know, obviously, that it's been delayed. You know, we're definitely not going to see it when they wanted to release it, you know, which was Q1, which was January, February time. We're not going to see it for a long time, I don't think.
Maybe we should ask the chat what they would if they had the money in the world, what would they get? Would they get the Vive Pro, or would they get the Pimax?
Definitely a Vive Pro here. I'm going to get one for sure.
Yeah.
It looks great
as well.
But that's like, you know, the HTC has a certain like credibility. People know what they can expect at a certain point. And with Pimax, you have never bought a headset from them, and you don't know what their support is going to be. What is going to happen if your Pimax is broken? What are they going to do? How long is it going to take?
Well,
when can you, you know, but
hang on.
Like, of course, with HTC, it wasn't great either.
Yeah.
But in the end, you do know that this is a big company. They cater a lot of people. And with Pimax, they just started up. It's a new company.
There's a term, Nathie, which is
go ahead.
MTBF, mean time before failure. And I think that with a product like HTC, you know that your device isn't necessarily going to die on day one or 6 months from now or a year from now. So... In general, I'm saying, for like thousands of units. Rowdy?
Yeah.
And in terms of good looks, I mean, I recently tweeted like really quickly, like, you know, I said, as the world's fastest YouTuber, this spoiler on my Vive would definitely help in improving my traction. And I showed like the picture of the guy wearing like the wireless module. It does look a bit like a spoiler. So in terms of good looks,
you're the one going
don't
fast
go
and
for
furious
the Vive
now.
Pro, right?
Yeah. Okay, guys. So moving on from the Vive Pro to something else that was talked about a lot at CES actually this week, and that is fitness in VR. So for those of you that don't know, during CEX there was a company that announced their product. The company was called Black Box VR. They were awarded loads of awards actually at CES, and it got a lot of attention in the mainstream press, and that is their fitness solution for virtual reality. And Black Box VR, they're creating the world's first virtual gym experience. You'll step into a Black Box VR boutique gym and immerse yourself in a whole new way to get fit that will, so you'll never have to visit a normal traditional gym again, they say. They use an integrated cable pulley system, which is controlled by Black Box Virtual Reality Engine, giving you real muscle and strength building resistance for your entire body. Instant force change capabilities give you full immersion. So essentially you're playing like a VR, they're gamifying going to the gym, right? So you've got this pulley system, you're pushing, and then in the virtual world you're like throwing things at like virtual enemies and things like this in a virtual coliseum. That's what people have described it as so far. So what do you guys think of this? Like, are you keen to sort of start working out in your VR headset? Because I know for one, I'm not that interested.
I'll go last.
Okay. What about you, Nathie? Are you going to start sort of like pumping some iron in VR or sort of doing some jumping jacks?
Well, first of all, I never really did it anyway. But if I will start, then I will not start in VR, I guess. No. But I do understand why some people want to do it. But it kind of sounds a little nerdy.
Mm.
Like, this is not something most people will do. Like, if you are really into VR and you love the Vive and you love all the headsets, then yeah, you are going to work out in VR. But let's say if you just got a Vive laying around or a Rift or anything, then it's fun, but it's not like you want to work out in it, you know?
No.
I think that just going to a gym is still fine too, because you socialize a bit too.
Yeah.
And of course in VR that's possible. But I know, I don't really see the connection that much in a way where people would really trade in their local gym with all their friends for a VR version. But yes, of course, for working out, it's great. I mean, you can burn some calories.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing. Like, I was surprised it got so much attention from CES because I just thought it was kind of one of these gimmicks. You know, like we've seen these kind of gimmicks before, and working out in VR, I just don't know. I don't know if it'll get like hot and sweaty. I don't want my Rift to get covered in sweat and horribleness.
My precious.
Like when I go work out, like I give it some beans, and like I don't want to get it all like hot and sweaty. I just don't want to do that. But like with this as well, like it's not like for the home environment, right?
That's
because
even
this
worse. That's even worse, right?
This is like a cable pulley system, right? So it's a big machine that has machine learning in it, so it knows how much you're giving it, and in terms of how much sort of percentage of your capacity you're actually giving it, so it learns from that and tailors the workout to your needs, which is really impressive stuff. But it's for a gym environment, not a home environment.
Oh, wait.
And they're actually saying
it's gamifying it, right? So is it still a game then, or is it literally just a VR gym? Because the main reason why I don't go to the gym is because it's boring.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing, right? Like, everything in life that you need to work hard at is probably boring. But, like, that's one of the things. Like, it is gamifying going to the gym, which I do think is great. But I just don't think this is the ideal way of doing it. Because if let's be honest about it, if I'm going to go to a gym and there is this pulley machine in the corner with a VR headset, there is no freaking way I'm putting that thing on my face with everyone else's sweat on it.
And looking at you.
Like, But they are actually opening like a gym with this kit, and it's going to be open in San Francisco.
Right, brick and mortar shops. I mean, when I saw the video, I thought big question mark there. I think the real thing is, what are they actually showing us? I think there's a bit too much fluff right now. I haven't seen what the actual app looks like. I haven't seen what the actual equipment looks like. And like you said, I think there's a few really tough logistical problems. Number one, a Vive is not designed, and people can kill a Vive with sweat. It has been proven. We've seen it on Reddit before. So having 60 people even in a week go through a headset that you're going to then step into, like, doesn't feel great. If it's on your own personal, if it's on the home front, and we'll talk about that, a couple of things that I've touched on recently and what I've done in the past, but I think that home VR exercise is better than gym. If it's trainer-led exercise and you're in an enclosed space, it's kind of like designed for executives. I really think there's a market there. But I don't think that down the common gym, in the corner of the gym, like you'd have your treadmill or whatever, you have a Vive on the corner with this pulley system. Yeah. I can't see it making much of a splash, and I really think that people are just looking for Wii Fit 2.0.
Right.
Oh. I think that if you are in a home trainer and you can actually bike somewhere, then that could be fun. But it's not gonna work with every workout system out there. But it feels like they just want to test this and kind of get the attention to see what people think, you know?
What I think would be cool.
It almost like feels like this is something that should be an AR thing and not VR, you know?
Yeah.
Like with AR, you get some info on how much you work out, stuff like that. And of course, the glasses are too big now, but you don't want to close yourself from that, you know? Like, I have the feeling that when going to a gym, it's kind of like a social aspect, like, as well, you know?
Ever been to a gym, Nathie?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, because it's not actually as social as you might think it is. I would say that people on their gym routine clock in at 6 a.m., do their reps, do their routines, and are out by 7 to be able to go get to work. Or if you're doing it after work, it's not. you're pretty shapely, Mike. But Rowdy, what do you think of it? Like, is this something that you would use? Does the concept go for as arguably the best looking guy here?
There's some bromance going on today.
The thing is, what bothers me the most with this is like people if they want to have people more going to the gym, make it like a more fun experience. Make it more of like a game. Like, for example, I don't know, like instead of like that, it's like a gym environment where you need to like push weights up or something. make it something like, oh no, we're building a house and we need tree logs or something. You need to get those tree logs over there. Or you're I don't know, rescuing a party and there's this big ball that's rolling towards you. You need to stop the ball for long enough. You need to try and push it back for the people to escape. Something more of like that is like it's a game that you want to be playing, and it requires a workout to do so. That would make me much more interested in it. Like, I'm gonna put my headset on instead of taking my bike and go to the gym down the street. I don't see it. And then of course, like all the sweat and stuff, I'm not even thinking about that yet. Because I would think that you would have to bring like your own Vive to the gym and like plug it in and then like use it. But even then, I would not do it. I would just not do it. No.
I think actually, and this is somewhere we're probably a few years away from it. We're just starting to see it with things like the VIII. But if you had a warehouse VR experience, which was social, and causing you to like do quite a bit of
exactly.
working,
that's much
like
more
you
pricing.
said, like it's the Mayan temple. 4 of us have to push a brick wall back. You know,
yeah.
You can imagine that being something quite interesting, where you would get together with buddies, you would go and do it. You probably wouldn't do it, at 9 or 10 at night after having been down the pub. Like that isn't going to happen. But the thing that I played this week and I thought was really worth mentioning, which is Box VR, confusingly. So we've got Black Box VR, which is just announced. Nathie, what was the name of the other announcement? Holyfield?
Mayweather?
Mayweather. Thank you, Mayweather. So there's something else in the space. And then there's an app that was launched last year called Box VR, which is kind of like, if any of you know Audio Shield. Audio Shield is a game which does beat detection, and these beats come at you as balls, and you're punching the balls. That's all you do. There's no other body activity. There's sound boxing and a few other games. Sprint Vector's coming. That's another one that's like highly involved. So these are all like exercise apps. But Box VR I really liked, and I'll tell you what I liked about it. It has you jumping, ducking, uppercutting, pulling in this way, and when having to hit the beat that's coming at you is the right level of accuracy. It's a way more accurate punch that you have to give it. And also the power of your punch matters, to the point where 2 days after I did this, I was sore up here, my legs, all that kind of stuff. The devs had said to me, they're like, we focused on being more of an exercise app than a game. I didn't actually find that when I played it. It felt very gamey, and actually to me now it's my exercise app, my go-to app. And
yeah, but that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing, I think. Yeah. If you can play something that is so fun to do, that is also is a workout. That's what I found. I think they really did the balance right, and that's why I mention it. Because I've been waiting, because I got bored of Audio Shield, honestly. It's like, and for a streamer, it's very hard. I can't play my favorite songs. And a lot of people would say, well, just do it after the show. I don't actually play VR after the show. I generally so I'm like locked out of, because of, copyright licensing issues, I can't play all my favorite music. Unlike you guys, you guys probably can.
So your German Schlager music.
My what?
Your German Schlager music.
What is Schlager music?
Schlager? Yeah, it's like a... Never mind.
It's like a Hoopapa band with like German people. Yeah. It's like yodeling around.
But this is the thing, like, I don't think VR is going to replace the traditional gym anytime soon. I think it might, like you say, in the future, but maybe not right now. But I think VR in general is helping people get more active and be more fitter anyway, because if you're a traditional gamer, you're not just sitting down in a seat anymore and just like tapping away at your keyboard. You're actually immersed in a world, and you're throwing your hands around, you're physically moving about, and you're standing, which is much better for your heart and your body than sitting down anyway. So I think VR games in general is making everyone a little bit fitter that are involved in the VR industry, but definitely like games like Sprint Vector and Audio Shield, like you mentioned, are games that really do get the heart pumping and get you sweating a little bit as well, but not to the point where you're going to be drenching your headset.
I have to mention though, because I don't know if I already mentioned it to you guys, but I went to airsofting like a little while ago. Ooh. And I thought, like, I've been playing so much VR, I've been standing so much, I've been playing a lot of shooters. I can handle this easily, going on for 3 hours. But the crouching the entire time, which I do in VR as well. I did that. I did that in real life even more, I think, because 3 days after that, I still couldn't go up the stairs. I just couldn't. It just wouldn't work.
You got a stair lift installed.
I want a video on that, Rowdy, so bad. Can you just go do that again and just film yourself not making it up the stairs? I would.
Yeah, Rowdy's girlfriend carrying him up the stairs. Come on, Rowdy, it's time for bed now. Yeah.
But I think there's one other application here that I wanted to talk about. So one thing that was really, really cool back in the, again, We Fit days was running around an island. And I was thinking when we first got into VR, I was like, why doesn't a dev just make an app where you're just jogging?
Marathon.
You're just jogging in place. The problem is all of the current mounting systems involve putting something on your head. And when you jog, it does this. And you know the sweet spot? Goodbye sweet spot. So that doesn't work. But cycling in VR kind of does. And there is a I'm sorry to say it, a pretty atrocious bike, VR bike. I think it's called VR Zoom, VIR Zoom, or Zoom VIR. The app itself, it's trying to do something good, and it does, like, you can be I think it's in a rowboat on the back of a horse, like lassoing somebody, and basically your physical motions generate the forward, momentum in the game. And there is definitely something there for like cycling in a peloton. There was actually a streamer a while back who did this. Strapped in, and there are some pseudo virtual games, but not VR games, that allow you to pretend like you're cycling and cycle with like a pack of 20 people who are actually real life people on exercise bikes and actually pedaling away. And I do think that something like that, or the replacement for the news at the front of the treadmill, because that's another thing that you could have in VR, but again with the head jostle, I don't know if it would work.
But that's like, and then it starts to get competitive, because then you can do it multiplayer too, and then you have like the climb, like worlds around you, and stuff like that. Yeah, that could be
why
great.
isn't the climb multiplayer? Why can't I see Nathie going past so I can climb faster?
Oh yeah, there's a ghosting mode, so you can do that. But Nimzo, if you are watching, can you please
solve this problem, please?
Yeah, can you please make that? But I like the Wii thing where you were like running on the island. I really enjoyed that. It was really fun. So, I mean, if you have like a cartoony kind of rec room kind of thing going on, and you can walk, and there are like things around you happening, like dolphins jumping out of the water, or like air balloons up there, and people are waving at you and like, hey, let's go, Yeah, no, I like that.
So there we have it. VR, fitness in VR isn't going to take off just yet, we don't think. But, you never know, maybe in the future. But I think playing VR generally will keep you fairly active for the time being if you're playing games like Sprint Vector and everything else.
Yeah.
So moving on to big virtual environments where you can socialize with other people is VRChat. And the reason why we're mentioning it again this week, and we don't want to sort of go into it again too much, but there has been a lot of sort of issues in terms of people, especially new users coming onto VRChat, that are reporting being harassed or abused or generally having an unpleasant experience as their first experience when they jump into VRChat. So I just wanted to sort of touch on it briefly, because VRChat team actually did an open letter to the community on the 9th of January where they just kind of explained that they're a small team. They've obviously seen a sudden growth in terms of users on their application. As I mentioned before, it's like 12,000 concurrent users recently. And obviously that has been assisted with people like YouTubers, streamers, streaming their experiences with VRChat, and then obviously the Knuckles meme, which has gone completely viral in terms of like a VR-specific meme. For those that don't know, like the Knuckles tribe is like the Sonic the Hedgehog Knuckles. You can go in, become one of those, you can join a tribe, and then just go and kind of...
Sorry to interrupt you here, Mike. Is the letter to the community in any way linked to the Knuckles meme?
No, well, it is kind of loosely, because there was a tweet by she actually works for the Oculus dev team. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she actually wanted to show to her colleagues that her going into VRChat isn't a very pleasant experience, because you're surrounded by people harassing her, shouting out racist and abusive comments, and it was just a toxic environment, basically. And obviously VRChat don't want this, they don't encourage this, they don't support this, so they wrote this open letter, and it basically just says that obviously VRChat is exploding. It went beyond their wildest dreams in terms of like how big it is right now. There is a small team trying to manage it, and one of their biggest challenges is trying to maintain the shape of a community that is fun and safe for everyone. What they want to do is address the quality of the VRChat experience, especially for new users, and the team will continue to work towards improving that. They say they've got trained and dedicated moderation teams that monitors VRChat constantly. They're actively trying to educate and remove users from the system that are behaving badly. But also they're working towards a more community way of moderating VRChat. So what they're trying to do is get the community to assist in shaping this into a better experience in the future. Like, let's be honest about it, like the VIVE Knuckles meme, there is elements to it that are very funny, it's fun, But, some people just take it way too far. That's the problem with life, and that's the problem in virtual reality as well. There's always people that want to ruin it for everyone else. And, I'm all up for people having fun in VR and showing off something fun and interesting. But it's when people cross the line and it becomes really racist or really abusive or, they just take it way too far. That's what I'm not cool with.
Also, the line is gray, right? The other thing I would say is, what ticks you off or sets you off is going to be very different from what sets me off. And same thing is true for that lady from Oculus.
That's right.
We're all going to have different dimensions. So there is an aspect of that in this as well. When something gets as popular as VRChat has become.
Yes.
We got the thing is as well, Sherry saying as well that going into VRChat as girls isn't always very pleasant.
Yeah, no, and I can and I can get that. Yeah. And that's the thing, they're saying, we have tools, we can mute, you can block people, you can go to invite-only rooms, but that's not really the solution here. We want to the solution is really to, if you're in VRChat and you see this kind of stuff going way above the line, you need to just challenge it, just be strong enough in personality to just go, hey, dude, this just isn't cool, and people will support you because ultimately they want to build a lasting community. And just like in real life, if you saw something going on that you just don't think is right, then you should feel strong enough to just say, hey, dude, this isn't cool. And if you don't want to do that, then you could just report it and let them know behind the scenes, and they can address that person in the future. But, these kind of memes, they are fun. But what I'm talking about is the next step, just being completely in someone's face or groping someone inappropriately or just doing something that makes someone else feels uncomfortable isn't cool.
The thing that I think that VRChat needs to watch out for is that, it doesn't become a meme in itself, that it's only that. Yeah. And that's why people are going in there. There's so much more that has to offer than just, that do you know the way?
Yeah. Yeah, but and what I'd just say is just treat people like you would in real life, just with respect and dignity, and just appreciate someone if they say, dude, just leave me alone, then just be cool about it.
Plus the problem here is you can dress up as the meme and then just say but I'm just dressed up as a meme, so I can just say this and I can say that, but that's not okay. But that's the whole thing, this meme. Not only this meme, there will be more memes in VRChat, obviously.
Yeah, they will.
This is maybe the first one that really explodes. But this is what I said a couple of weeks ago before this whole thing went down. What is gonna happen after all these Twitch streamers and YouTubers came into this place to make their content? What is the creator going to be? What is the damage that is left in a well? And that's what you see right now. It kind of damages the overall experience, and it's not only about the meme, as Rowdy said. There's so much more to it, but you can only see the beauty of that without the chaos. I've been in VRChat many times before. I'm using it for over 2-3 years now. I think 2 years. And back then you had 20 people online, and you could really see the amazing part of it. And now it seems it's kind of you can't really use it in its full potential because of all this crazy stuff everyone is doing. It's not only a social app anymore at this very moment, it's also just a content paradise for all the people out there that do YouTube or Twitch full time. And you got people that treat it with respect, but you also got people that just go beyond a certain level, just keep on trolling without really showing off any respect for VRChat.
Also in the chat, apparently there's a lot of people that are going on about that. Since for example, Voodoo.de said it's not very nice to enter VRChat as a German. So
right,
is there an
that's the thing,
anti-German? I haven't. There's a lot of threads kicking off at the moment, isn't there? In
and that's the thing,
go on, Mike.
Yeah. It's just people being dicks in general, in terms of your race, your religion, your language you speak, your ethnicity, your race, everything. It's just it's everything.
No,
everything. Yeah.
People will abuse anonymity in crowd mentality almost without fail.
Yeah.
When you get a crowd together and you have people anonymous, we've seen it. Hey, you guys see it, I'm sure, daily on YouTube comments, right?
Yeah,
if you're behind username 12345, you can say whatever the bloody hell you like.
Yeah. But what we don't want is to police the internet, and that's the whole thing with like internet neutrality as well. Like we don't want to police the internet. You just got to learn how to behave correctly in it. That's all I would say. We don't want VRChat to be policed. We don't want people to because like part of the charm of VRChat is people doing kind of crazy stuff and feeling the freedom to enact a character or be whatever they want to be. And personally, like I haven't really seen that much toxicity in VRChat. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, but nothing really like abusive or like overly racist. But I can understand that is probably.
Though. I mean, the times
it
that
does.
You see it, but you ignore it because you're like I'm not going to be bothered with this. But you do. Yeah. I mean, I've seen people drawing swastikas in there and stuff. So I mean, it happens.
Yeah, and also you have to recognize as well the different cultures people come from. Like being an American. One of the things that you're growing up with, like I feel that Europeans are a little bit more, how should I call it, open to sexuality than the Americans are in upbringing. Like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of shut down as you're going through your upbringing, and so someone coming into that environment, which can be heavily sexualized at times, that can be incredibly toxic to somebody from a culture who's not used to that, not used to playing around with those concepts or whatever, and so. I totally see where people are coming from. I think VRChat, by the way, at the core, and a lot of these social apps have a lot to offer in terms of connecting people.
Yeah.
You just have to remember that those people around you are humans. These are people with feelings and emotions, and just act responsibly, have fun, in there. And I think for those people who really care about VRChat, don't worry about the hurricane that's on right now, because it'll pass on. Things will calm down. But I think some of this popularity will stick. It's clearly got staying power. What I've started to see over the last week and 2 weeks is recurring events, recurring places where people are getting together and doing something together, whether that's like a quiz night or going on a particular adventure or just helping people get to know the app. Very interesting to see that. And actually, that's one of the best parts of these kinds of apps. We saw it in Altspace ages ago, where they said, we need to turn this business into a business model. Let's go into event coordination. We're yet to see that model for VRChat. How are they going to stay alive in the long term, and what's the kind of the diamond at the center?
I think this is just so open, and it's driven by the community. So like some of the amazing like avatars that people spend hours and hours making, brilliant. Just so like their eyes move in a nice way or their mouth moves like in a natural way is incredible. And some of the environments are amazing as well. Like look at the Great Pub, the Great Pug, right, which is a virtual pub. That was all made, by someone. That name. And it's just so cool. And that's the thing. Like I don't worry about the future of VRChat because I think it's going to survive all this. But like with anything new, there's always going to be some controversy involved in it. And like me and Nathie have been involved in this whole Knuckles thing as well. Like we went and did it, right? We've made videos of it ourselves. But and we had fun doing it. But
you should.
But during that time, but during that time, we were respectful to people that say if someone didn't want to participate in what we were doing, then that's cool. Just go and do what you want to do.
I haven't told Nathie this yet, but Nathie, that was my favorite video you've ever made, was your Knuckles video. It was just very natural, and it totally taught me the meme, and you showed me the way, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. You see kind of like a clash going on between different groups of people in VRChat. You got the core community that has been in there for a while, and now they get suddenly invited or like invaded by, all kinds of crazy people from kids that have seen their favorite YouTubers play VRChat, and they decide to go in there like themselves. So I think it will have like a good boost for VR, and I think, the memes are there to stay because you can be a meme, and we haven't seen that before. It's just that don't take it to a level where it's offensive or disrespectful. But I hope there will be more police patrolling a bit in VRChat, because I think it does need that.
VRChat is the Wild Wild West. Mike, you touched on something that I think maybe isn't apparent to everyone right now. VRChat is doing something for the games industry as a whole that's very helpful, and that is teaching a whole new population how to model and rig characters, because people are saying, I want a custom avatar. How do I do it? They're going to learn that. And that, I'll tell you right there, that is the job path into the games industry. You hone those skills. I don't care if you're 12. You can get on that path. And if you're an artist, true artisan, modeler, whatever, designer, doesn't mean you have to be good at like paintbrushes and stuff. You can be a modeler or a level designer, and that is a real life job.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's definitely true. And yeah, like you say, just be respectful and cool to people in VR. And if you didn't know, there is actually a counter meme to the Knuckles meme. I don't know if it's going to be as mainstream, but there is a Jazz Bees tribe that are trying to take on the Knuckles. So there is like guerrilla warfare going on in VRChat right now in terms of funny memes. So yeah, we just wanted to touch on that briefly. Just be respectful to people in VR is ultimately the takeaway from that one. Yeah. So moving on to our last topic, and hopefully we'll be able to cover this one in a little bit of detail before we wrap up the show. But it's the top VR peripherals to get the most out of your virtual reality experience. So we've all been trying different peripherals for our virtual reality systems, whether that be the Vive, the Rift, or the PSVR. There's tons of stuff out there you can buy to improve your experience. So I just wanted to quickly go around the room and just touch on some of the stuff that you guys have bought and that you personally use maybe every day or every week to enhance your experience. So I'll start with you, Zim, because you use quite a lot, right?
Oh, Teledildonics, man, they are here. Here to stay. No, I haven't gone that far yet.
Wow.
Yeah, that's still a Japanese thing. I still have shutters. There are all kinds of peripherals and
you're bringing back all sorts of horrible visions in my mind, but yeah,
we've just come from VRChat. I had to say it at the start.
Yeah.
So, best accessories. I think that if someone has kind of gone through, this is the funny thing. It's a rabbit hole. You get into VR and you're like, wow, I'm immersed. How can I go deeper? Right? What can I do? Something I've tried which was awful was the Nauseous Rift, which was coupled with a VR game, and which basically had you smelling just farts. Every time Cartman on screen knocks one out, you smelt it. And let me just say, as a dude with a beard, it stayed in here for like 30 minutes after, and I felt sick to my stomach. So that is an example of a peripheral I wouldn't recommend.
That was to support the Stick of Truth, right? The South Park game.
Fractured butthole. Yeah.
Oh, the fractured butthole. Okay.
That's the one. I was shudder saying that. But that was the Nauseous Rift. So there's a few peripherals definitely to stay away from. Ones that I think really augment your entertainment value and work very well across a wide array of titles. You've heard me talk about them before, but I think tactile transducers of any nature. You can do homemade ones with these little pucks you get. Connect them to an amp, drive it into your seat or whatever. I use personally a butt kicker and a sub pack, which help me feel the experience. They work about 60 or 70% of titles. Not everything's tactile like you might expect, but a lot of games are. And then in addition to that, you get into the more expensive peripherals. So let's say you're an Elite Dangerous player and you like your space sims or flight sims. You can get a HOTAS, so you can get something that is a hands-on throttle and stick, HOTAS. Or you can get a wheel if you're into driving games. So I personally use a G27, which is an 8-shifter, a wheel, and pedals. And I think I paid £160 for that when I got it. That was kind of an expensive purchase for me. But if you're into racing games, the only thing you want to think about before you buy one of these things is you basically bolt it to your desk. It's all these turn screws and stuff, and it sits there. Just like I've said with the Vive before, if your set up and set down time is a lot, and you're going to go put it in a box. In other words, you can't just leave it set up, then it might end up gathering dust on the side. So before you go and invest in one of these things, ask yourself that question of, am I going to leave it on my desk? Where's it going to physically go? And do I play those games enough to warrant the asking price? So look, don't go out and pay 500 quid for a HOTAS and then be like, oh, I played, a flight sim once and, now it's in the box again. Just think about that. I had that problem a little bit where my wife gave me a nudge on the side. She's like, PSVR aim controller comes with Farpoint. £80 for the game in this. One night, that's how much I got out of this. Literally. So was it worth it, the price? For me, yes, because that was like living in a sci-fi action thriller, which was amazing. But I think a lot of people's budgets will say no to something like that. As good as it is, and as convincing as it is, that thing can be used in basically 2 titles right now. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very limited.
It's a bit more, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, a bit more. Sorry, but what I consider valuable titles.
No, you're right. Yeah.
What about you, Rowdy? What do you have? You've got a few peripherals yourself, my friend.
Yeah, I got the HOTAS, but it's indeed a big problem. And I'm glad you touched upon that. If you do not leave it on your desk, you're not going to be using it. Because I bought a HOTAS, I think almost 1.5 years ago. And I think I tried it once, and that was to see if it worked. And then I was like, okay, it's cool. It works. It works, It works with my Elite Dangerous. Once I get back into this game, I'm definitely going to be using it. But That's the thing. Like it takes like I mean, for me, I do all my recordings in my living room. I need to set everything up. I need to break everything down. I need to make sure that my girlfriend is not in the living room when I'm doing the recordings. It's a lot of like stuff that involves around it. And if you do not have the time or want to do the effort to set everything up every time, then you're not going to take it out. And I love it though. I've played with it, that one time, and I thought, man, this is so freaking cool. I really feels like you're steering with something. And then the other things that I have tried but not bought, I mean, I tried like several of those like really racing simulators. I haven't mentioned it to anyone yet, but I am going pretty soon. I'm going to a virtual reality company where they do racing simulators. So really with like the shock mounts and you're moving around and stuff. So I'm gonna try that out. Nice. I'll let you guys know how that was once I've done so. But that is something. I mean, I love those kind of things. The more immersion, the better. But I'm gonna have to wait until I have like a bigger space or like a space that is really like my own little office where I can do and leave what I want, before I actually get invested into any more of these kind of peripherals. The only one that I do use for VR shooters is the gun mount. That's the one that I
Your
Pro
Tube, is it?
Yeah.
Pro Tube, where you slot in, just for people who, to visualize this, it's basically your Vive wands click into the thing, and it's almost like, some people do PVC piping to give you a steady aim on your shot. So if you're playing a game like Onward, something like that, instead of having two moving pieces that make your gun go all over the place, you've got this kind of fixed position. And actually, to be honest, it's a bit of like a real life game hack because you have an advantage over other players. It's an awesome looking piece of kit. Rowdy's showing it off on screen now with these. Is that orange or red?
It's red. It's just my lighting a little bit.
It's nice doing. And just for people who are thinking about, hey, I'm into VR shooters, how much is one of these things?
Oh, geez. I think it was. I have to look that up. I can't say that for sure. I'm gonna have to look that up. How much I paid for it.
So in the meantime, Nathie, what about your accessories, dude? What do you like to use?
I don't really use any steering wheels or like HOTAS, or I do use like little 3D printed gadgets. Like we got the VR covers that you can slide in. Also, I got maybe I should show it soon, but I got like on the strap of my Rift, like the cable usually just goes down with the Rift. But I got like little 3D printed little hooks from a Reality Check VR. He's making those kind of stuff, and you can just click it on the side. It's like a little clip, and then you can put the wire between that to the back of your headset. Yeah. So that's the VR cover. You can also get it in different colors. Back in the days, you could also have your name on it. I'm not sure if you can still have that, but you had like a label with your name on it. Very, very awesome.
That's
so
cool.
Yeah, VR cover never hurts. I'm not sure, by the way, like if the Vive Pro comes out, it has like a new face cushion, so it could be that one is better. If it doesn't decompose anymore, then
interestingly, I was watching the Engadget cover of the Vive Pro, and it has a VR cover on it.
Did it? Oh, maybe they're gonna ship with it. That's interesting.
So I don't know if it ships with it, but like certainly when we was at Oculus Connect, they had VR covers on all their kit. So maybe they've HTC have struck a deal with the VR cover as well.
Is there any competition to VR cover? I haven't seen anything that's really decent, to be honest.
There is some Widmo do a competition, but
I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Widmo.
WIDMO.
At least they tried, But, I mean, the background of VR cover is just so good that they really know what they are doing, and you can also buy a nice merchandise too.
So, given the peripherals thing is a big deal for me, and I think it's worth kind of getting into. I think again, a cheap hot ass, like 30 quid for a decent hot ass, if you're into flight sims and cockpit sims seriously. I had one for the last 3 years, almost 4 years now. And it's just held up, and it's worked well. I think something like PSVR AIM is probably going to be a skip for a lot of people just because of the price. But if I was to say the thing that for me now is the number one, like I'm in VR, I'm immersed, I want to add 20% to that experience, then I'd say pick up a sub pack. There's a new rendition of it. It's a chargeable backpack that you wear. It's basically a subwoofer, so it gives you every bassy explosion or gunshot. You feel it in your back. You can wear it. It wears like just like a hydro pack, and it charges and it holds about 7 hours of charge. So because VR games tend to be more kind of standing in the center of your room. For me, it is another line going back to my machine, but I don't tend to get too tangled in it. And the addition it gives to you, again, across about 70% of the games, is worth the asking price. A little bit pricey, so maybe buy, because there's a new revision out, which is the M2X. This one is nearly the same thing, the M2. And I think people will be selling it on eBay and that. I'd say snap those up because it'll be a good deal. You probably get it for 200 quid or something.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Also, if you just run around in public or you sit in a train or, outside of VR, it's also nice to use.
Don't go to the airport.
No, don't go to the airport. That's true. Don't even try because they will not like what they see.
These start from about, the Pro 2 VR starts from about 80 euros for the HTC Vive and the Oculus. But you can also buy one which has like both of the modules on there. So this is the HTC Vive and then on this side it's like the Oculus. Yeah.
So my favorite accessory is actually the VR cover. But one. The other one is as well, like I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it's actually a custom set of lenses in there, which are prescription lenses. So I wear glasses in the Rift. I used to anyway, and then I got like a custom set of prescription lenses made, and then a guy from eBay, Fabian Gunderman, he actually 3D prints his own lens adapters to fit your IPD. Right. So give him your IPD and he'll print you the lens adapters for your lenses, and then you just pop the VR Lens Labs lenses in them, and it just clips into the Rift, and then you never have to wear glasses in the Rift again. And for me, that's the best accessory because it is greatly increased my enjoyment using the Rift because everything's a lot clearer, and I don't have to mess around, put my glasses on and off every time.
Did you know
you have to worry about scratching your lenses?
No, not at all. Just sits perfectly in there. Yeah.
Did you know that VR cover also has them? Like something.
Yeah, they do.
VR
that is their solution to it.
It's this one.
It's not as elegant in my mind, but it does work as well.
So also, you'll link later, Mike. Yeah,
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we could also mention is maybe, but I don't know, it's like a 50-50, like the Vive trackers. But again, that's the same with the PlayStation VR aim controller. There is almost nothing out there that you can use it with.
Yeah.
What's the price, Nathie, for those things?
I have no.
I think it's like 80 or something. I think it's quite.
It's kind of weird because first they were for developers only, and then they suddenly were like, okay, it's Christmas, maybe we should use all the ones we still have and just put them on a gun that looks like an NES gun,
Oh, I saw it.
And then I don't know.
Is that a purchasable peripheral? So you're talking about? It looks like Duck Hunt, the old Duck Hunt gun.
Yeah.
And you can buy that for the Vive. Does it work with any game? Like, what does it work with?
Don't know.
I know that
Space
it works
Pirate
with
Trainer?
Ion 359. You can use the trackers with that to like put on your like legs and like your hands, and then you can see your whole body. But it's a little bit too early for that. If you are someone that is like crazy about VR, then of course it's a must-have. But it's not like you can expect every game to work with it.
No. Cool. Okay, guys, so we have sort of gone on for an hour and a half now, so sort of pretty much time to wrap up this week's show. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've got any final questions, chuck them in the chat now while I wrap this one up. Yeah. So, like I said at the very beginning, it is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on Nathie's YouTube channel. Yeah. You can check out the show at 4 p.m. in Europe, 3 p.m. in UK, 9 a.m. in Central US. If you missed the podcast, you can check out the whole show on my own YouTube channel, Virtual Reality Oasis, where I upload the whole video every Sunday, or check out the audio-only version available on iTunes, Google Play Music, and SoundCloud.
Yes.
So, any final requests?
Yes.
Sorry.
I got one more mention. So we talk about the VR trackers. They're also used for motion kind of stuff. So you can use them in like several kind of games, like Island 359, but also with VRChat. To get like those on your feet, and then you can get your feet tracked in VR.
VRChat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you like VRChat, then you need this, right? Like you can see your little knuckles, toes. That's cute. Okay. But Martin Risby said, "Hello, Martin Risby."
Yeah. Hey, Martin.
A shout out to you. He said also like the Tesla suit is an interesting one. Now you can't buy that.
Yes.
But we haven't really spoke about that. Let's keep it short, but I know you're like getting really excited now.
I'll say two things.
Tesla suit.
It zaps you up here, right? It zaps you with electricity, and definitely gonna get one.
It's a haptic,
I don't know what the price is.
It's a haptic suit.
Suit.
Yeah, it feels really like Ready Player One, that kind of technology, and I'm excited for when that finally takes off. Definitely.
Yeah, because
until
then
they
you
have
can
Tesla
feel me
Tesla trunks.
You. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Elon Musk approves. So,
PD said, what games is everyone looking forward to in 2018? I know we covered that to some extent, but anything new that you guys have caught wind of?
it's kind of empty, right? Like launch-wise,
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah.
Chirp, chirp.
budget cuts. That's it.
Win lens too. That's about it.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
Sprint Vector for me.
Sprint Vector.
Yeah. I want to race against against Rowdy.
Not against me. Why not me?
See if he can hold his record for being the fastest YouTuber alive.
You guys got nothing on me. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's all talk.
That's like that Mario Kart experience where you can mess around with everyone with items, and that's gonna be great.
Yeah,
So let me just double check one more time if we see anything else here. I want to make a mic.
I got one
pillow.
funny here.
You want a mic pillow?
Zim will run electricity through himself, but not radio waves.
I saw that. Yeah. Yes, there actually is, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. The coolest technology when I was doing my degree was where you'd have like a gadget in your pocket, like an iPhone or something, and it was called red taction. It modulates the electrical force of your we all have as humans, right? Very Matrix. And if you go and shake someone's hand, it was the same thing. The devices in your pockets can talk to one another. It's kind of very similar to AM or FM radio waves, but it'd be very interesting to be able to meet someone in a bar and not have to take down their details.
Yeah. But we forgot, obviously, the best VR accessory of all time, and that is the mic from Virtual Reality Oasis official pillow. And on that VR bombshell, we are going to end this week's show. Thank you very much, guys, and our audio listeners for being a part of it. We really appreciate it. As you probably guessed, we're having a great time making this show for you, and I hope you appreciate all the work we put in behind the scenes. So we will see you at the same time next week. Take care, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later.